The 25th of November. Now, for the first time in the United States, we've got data that says there's been more COVID deaths in people that are vaccinated versus people that are unvaccinated. And we want to look at that in a little bit of detail in a minute and put some context in that. And also, we want to look at the bivalent vaccine boosters that are being given in the States. And we're going to be looking at information from VSafe, which shows that 54.8% of vaccine recipients of the bivalent boosters had systemic side effects, most of which weren't serious in the time frame they were looking at. Now, that's about the only way I can summarize this. It is a bit complicated. And of course, YouTube rules and my own personal standards insist that we will be looking at data from official sources and other reputable sources of data. So we're not going against any guidelines from the United States government. Now, here we have this was a report. It was commissioned by the Washington Post. Kaiser Family Foundation Vice President Cynthia Cox, who does a lot of this kind of work. Now, this is quite interesting. 58% of coronavirus deaths in August were people who were vaccinated or boosted. And that is people who'd had a primary course of vaccines, at least a primary course of vaccines. So what it looks like is happening here is we're getting waning of the protective effects of the vaccines. It's now waning. And of course, this combined with the systemic side effects that we're going to look at from the booster doses needs to be taken into account as we consider the risk-benefit analysis. Because we started these vaccination programs a while ago and the risk-benefit analysis has changed. We're not saying the vaccines aren't effective. We're not saying anything about the vaccines. We're just saying the risk-benefit analysis has changed. Let's go on. So therefore, 42% of deaths in August were in people who were unvaccinated. So the majority, for the first time, there are more COVID deaths in the vaccinated versus the unvaccinated population in the United States. Now, it's fair to contextualize this because if we look at CDC data, we do find that 80.06% of the United States population is vaccinated. So there's more people in the vaccinated group than in the unvaccinated group. But it's also true, as we saw, that there were more COVID deaths in the vaccinated group for the first time. Now, historically, this is quite interesting. September 2021, vaccinated people, 23% of coronavirus fatalities in people that were vaccinated. January and February 2022 have gone up to 42%. And as we saw now, it's now gone up to 58%. So we see that the risk-benefit analysis is changing. The data is there before our eyes. So a direct quote from the Kaiser Foundation in the Washington Post: "We can no longer say this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated." So Mr. Biden's, I'm not saying Mr. Biden was wrong at the time, but times have changed. We know protective effects wane. And this needs to be taken into account when we look at risk-benefit analysis, in my view. So this was the Kaiser Foundation who conducted the analysis. Now, the Centre for Disease Control and Prevention, Morbidity and Mortality Weekly Report. And this is this paper here from the CDC. So we're bang in the middle of official US government data. Safety monitoring of bivalent COVID-19 vaccines. Now, August the 31st, 2022, the FDA authorised the bivalent booster for Pfizer and Moderna, mRNA encoding the spike protein from the original SARS coronavirus 2 and from Omicron BA4 and BA5. So it was this bivalent combination vaccine. Advisory Committee on Immunisation Practice recommended all persons over 12 receive an age-appropriate dose of one of these vaccines. That was their recommendation at the time, and indeed still is. Now, VSafe is a voluntary smartphone-based US safety surveillance system established by the CDC to monitor adverse events after COVID vaccination. And here we have it, it's a V safe here.
Very much. County shuts down a woman's thriving small business for infuriating reason. I don't really have a business anymore, she says. Tina Danes wrote this for Yahoo News. Palm Beach County, Florida is making commercial worm composting illegal because it says it owns the trash of the residents. So, wait, what? This woman originally founded her worm farm and community composting business in partnership with the local food bank in 2015 in an attempt to reduce food waste. So the woman thought, wait, a lot of food goes to waste even at the food bank. So I'm going to find a way to recycle that and put it to good use. So she would take the expired food from the food bank and use it to feed worms in a composting situation she had going on there. And the worm droppings or castings would create fertile soil, which could be utilized as an eco-friendly fertilizer. This is known as vermicomposting. Eventually, she started serving local residents who could opt into her program. She would pick up the waste at her customers' properties, but that all came to a halt recently when she received a phone call from the county's Solid Waste Authority telling her that what she was doing was illegal. She had no right to be taking waste from her neighbors, even if they agreed to do it. And so she's been forced to close down her operations. She spoke to the Palm Beach Daily News and said whether or not it's on the curb or in your house, if it's trash, it's property of the Solid Waste Authority. So here's the thing. If you put it in your garbage can or whatever your waste receptacle is and take it down to the curb for them to pick up, I would agree with you that, yeah, that right there could belong to the Solid Waste Authority. And I will liken this to another situation I remember. I remember living in a neighborhood where they recycled everything in separate containers, including metal. And there were people who go around at night and grab all the metal out of the metal containers. And if you talk to people who do the recycling, they'll say, well, the metal was one of the places that they actually made money because they could recycle the metal. So when someone comes by and grabs the metal recycling out by the curb, it was hurting the company that had bid on the contract to do that. But there's a difference here, because she's saying these people weren't putting it up by the curb. They were saving it for her and giving it to her separately. And she says that the Solid Waste Authority called her and said, you can't do that because the waste that these people have belongs to us. And the question is, at what point does it become the property of the Solid Waste Authority? And if an attorney were to get involved in this and litigate this, I have a sneaky feeling that a judge is going to say, you know something, until they put it up by the curb, it belongs to the owners who created it. You'd think. Otherwise, I could leave it in my living room or kitchen and call the Solid Waste Authority and say, hey, come get your waste out of my kitchen. No, it's got to be done by the curb. Why? So the county told the woman that it burns the county's organic waste, and they do that to generate electricity that powers 88,000 local homes. And so the woman says, apparently my little composting operation could affect the county's ability to do that. I don't really have a business anymore. Now, Palm Beach County incinerates its collected waste.
One $10 donation.
Welcome back, Squirrel Tribe. Let's just jump right in because this is pretty much breaking news and very important. Municipal Water Authority of Aliquippa hacked by Iranian-backed cyber group. We talked previously in a video about how cyber attacks during this war would be a potential thing. And here we are. It's already happening. So the Municipal Water Authority of Aliquippa in Pennsylvania experienced a cyber attack on one of their booster stations attributed to an Iranian-backed cyber group called Cyber Avengers. The E is a 3, so it looks a little weird, but Cyber Avengers. Matthew Motz, or Motes, I'm not sure, the chairman of the board of directors for the authority, confirmed the incident to KDKA TV. The attack triggered an alarm at the station, which serves to monitor and regulate water pressure for Raccoon and Potter townships. Motz assured that there is no known risk to the drinking water or water supply. The hacked machine used a...
It's fucking amazing because as we're watching this, you have layers and layers and layers all working together in the true creator's work. It's so easy to see. So by looking at some layers that are going against the flow that you would call the natural current or the wind, whether it's different altitudes, whatever reasoning, visually, because it's really electromagnetic current. It's not, wind is an effect of electromagnetic current. There's a lot of things I don't talk about anymore. I'm sick of listening to myself talk too. All these areas that are around here that are moving separate from these larger clouds. You'll notice a misty cloud. Matter of fact, they're bringing in color. They're bringing in reds and yellows and different shades of blue, and I'm seeing a lot of color that we're able to get out of there because that's the blue sky behind there. So all these different layers are adding texture, what I usually refer to as texture, so people don't think I'm like overdoing things and trying to over explain things. It's just that simple. So each layer is adding texture to each image. So you have this large image like this one here, and if I crop them, you'll see them easier. I noticed that if I'm watching my videos back and I'm noticing if I'm only cropping from one direction, it's not as helpful for anybody that might be looking. I know where the timelines are now, so it's pretty easy for me. So let's say I want you to get you to see your eyes on this face that's looking off in that direction. Then I know to bring over here to his head, and then it's better if I bring this side this way. So you see the one that I'm talking about that's going off in that direction, not this one with the eye here, nose here, mouth here. See him? I can also do this. And what I'm doing is I'm staying outside the timelines that are meant for this particular image. I'm staying right outside of them. Your eyes have to do some, but if I come out too far, you start getting the next image because it's image within image within image from the veil to the ground. So if I bring you right to here, only one direction, and point out the face that's looking off in that direction, because you only get one eye and a piece of the eye in order to do that. Every time I'm going in and out with my, okay, there you go. Every time I'm going in and out with my hydron cropper, I'm making it blurry. And then when I pull off, you're catching the larger face, which is looking more towards us, towards the camera, but to his left a little bit, to our right? He's looking off in that direction, that particular image there. But there are millions of images within here. And I notice when I'm bringing my cropper through, I'm just going bink, my eyes catch it, I go bink, I'm dropping them on the timelines, and I'm not being that considerate, and I'm just pointing it out. And I'm not going to say that I'm going to start being now that considerate, because a lot of times I am, and it goes unappreciated. Nobody will go look. And it's not like you got to be appreciative to me for any other way than to just go look for yourselves. So then that would be that would be the appreciation you could show me for going out of my way to show you how to do this. Nobody else out there is making their own hydron croppers, right? You're waiting for science to fucking tell you something. Anyway, so I'm going through like this, and all I'm doing, because I'm not feeling like really doing much, I'm just looking at videos in the background to listen to, and at the same time, I'm running through on the Right to Reality channel some of these cloud videos, and I'm just playing and pausing and digitally collecting the EMNC. And as I'm doing it, I'm watching these all these different layers. Now, by doing this, we can watch the true creator work. Because as the clouds are moving, that's what you're watching. You're watching the builders build all these images for you. Now I can take my camera off and I can come in and I can show them to you even better like this. I've been doing that lately. I take the camera off and I take my time and go around. So in other words, I can get you a lot more out of each shot. But then it goes, so this is what you guys need to do. You need to take your camera off your tripod, see, tripod, and hold it in your hand, and you go look around, because then you're going to learn about angles and distances of perspective. You're going to learn about lights and shadows, all the shit that I spew out of my mouth that you say, bullshit. That's the shit that you got to go do for yourself. And then once you do, just like in the camera here, I can see much more clearly for each image that my eyes grab. At this point, when your eyes start grabbing them and you start digitally collecting them with the camera like this, just know that you're seeing the true creator's work, and there's nothing to be afraid of. All different angles. There is no up, down. Let's see, I turn my sideways. There is no up, down, left, right, backward, forward, in or out in the true creator's work. So this batch of clouds, what you call clouds right here, that you think is magic from Mother Nature, and all the bullshit stories that we were fed over the years, really good. This is a really good one too. Look at all the fucking color. Look at all the color. That's what got me started about it, because I was seeing all the color everywhere. Oh yeah, it's real fucking good. This is a good video. And the layers, where what looks kind of like dreamy, it looks a little bit dreamy to you. Well, you can get rid of that idea of it being dreamy look. And I'm only talking about these layers. Once I start going in, I can make everything crystal clear for the camera. Once I start going image with an image with an image, but then when you see it, you don't believe it. You're looking at it and you're like, nah, there's no fucking way. That's just my imagination. In this video that's on here too, it could be a lot better. I have other ones that are a lot better, but I just did this one just in the last couple of days. So I wanted to use them because I'm trying to show people, anyone that's on the Michael Oziak channel or the Miguel Everyone channel, that those channels are going to be shut down. They are shutting them down. So once they do, then any of the 20 to 30 people that are out there that are really watching my videos, those people will not be able to find me anymore. So my goal is to do a little bit of videos on both channels. Hopefully I can last a couple months, but most likely they're going to hit me again on the Michael Oziak channel. Therefore, the only channel is my new channel, Right to Reality channel. I'm going to hit play while I'm talking, and then I'll start on over here while I'm talking as well. So I'm just playing and pausing. Every frame, I'm letting it run through a complete frame. I don't have to. I can go in all directions, and there are going to be thousands of images, very clear, that I can pull out of it. Now, another thing happens with the transfer. I am tightening the pixels, and my eyes are catching them, and I also have the ability to add a filter if I want to. I took the red filter off because maybe I'll put it back on. I took the red filter off. I have to make some adjustments because now lights and shadows. So I got to pick back up a little bit, and I got to angle down a little bit because I got to pull more light into my camera if I'm going to do it this way, if I'm going to put the darker red filter on, because it's a little darker. So watch. I'm going to press play again, and we'll watch this come through with the red filter. Same cloud images from the Right to Reality channel that I just put in, just research vids, and the image is really good. Now, you're only going to be catching, the average person is going to see the stuff that's coming through in the middle, in the center. Usually, that's what will happen. Your eyes will center. But because it's moving, and any movement, these are moving fairly slowly, but at least they're moving. So therefore, I can just keep pressing pause like this, and you can see the imagery beautifully. You do not need me to really come at it with the cropping tools and start cropping. Of course, if I did what I want you guys to do, I'll come, and that's the only reason why I'm using these croppers, because I'm trying to show you all what happens if you change your lights and shadows, how much more clearly you'll see if you end up cropping images, whether it's in the rocks, the stones, the trees. You'll say, oh, I see. You'll see more detail. You see more definition. You can come out and look for the timelines if you want to, and the timelines are going to trace all of the images. Timelines trace the imagery in every which way, and it's image within image. So even these eyes of this character that I'm lining you up on right now. See the eye there, the nose here, and the mouth here. I can't even tell you what it is: a feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. So let's see. So as I move my lights and shadows, I can change what this image is from feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. I can bounce around with it because I know how to use my lights and shadows. I can take out a certain section of its face, the top of its head with my cropping tools, and then I can get a different species. You see, because the nose will get darker. It'll look more like one of the rodents. I can get, see, I'm closing them down to make them look more like a rodent. Now there's canine because I just made its nose a little bit bigger, all with lights and shadows. That's all I'm doing. And then when I come this way and I take those lights and shadows out and I go like this, I can get them to go human because I'm pulling in the hairdo and everything that's coming up around here. The eyelashes go long, looks very feminine. Feminine when I get it to go human, and feminine when I get it to feminine eyes. In other words, like feminine rodents, feminine looking rodents, you know, or even canine. Some canine and feline a lot of times too. A feline have a natural feminine look. That's why everybody thinks cats are girls. But you know, if you notice that if you see a smaller dog, very much canine there. Because I'm coming down and I'm cropping the hairdo out. See, if I come back up here for the hairdo, I'll come around for the human face. I'm moving my camera a lot right now because I'm looking. There she goes. So now I can bring her down and look for the human face. The face will elongate. So let me get her. Let me get her. She's still staying feline, canine, rodent, ape, human beast. So I'm going to guess that it's going to be over here somewhere. That she's going to go more human. Yeah, yeah, look at how the face, see? And then the hairdo even changes too. The hairdo changes, the face gets fatter. She's got a neckline too. She has a neckline. There you go. Almost looks childlike, kind of a baby face going on a little bit at one angle. Now I'm changing my angles a lot as I'm doing this, just to let you know. And I'm going to come back out because I also want to see what I can get for different hairdos out of her. Because see, her eyes, I can get her eyes better this way, right? You got these big pupils now, this eye especially. And by the way, in the True Creator's work, there is no math. So to see two eyes and think that those two eyes, because humans relate that all creatures have two eyes, but in the True Creator's work, True Creator doesn't see things this way. The True Creator doesn't see things the way we do. So therefore, you can find the matching eye, but it's never going to be exactly the same as the other one. No matter, even if you get it at its perfect angle, our misinterpretation of reality causes us to think that one eye should look identical to the other eye. And that's not the case in the True Creator's work. You can still find the matching eye. The pupils will both be going in the same direction. I'm bouncing around while I'm talking, but okay, so here goes to a masculine face now. I want to see what happens with the eyebrows. So if I change my angle down this way, I can get the mouth to come way down here with the mouth open, nose stays here, eyes are the same, but now he starts, oh yeah, definitely. Definitely, I can get a beard on him and everything at this point. So let's see. Not moving around too quickly is another good idea to do whenever doing these. Oh yeah, definitely I can get him to go manly there too. Because it keeps that eye there, with that eye there, with that nose, with the mouth there, with the beard, and I can get a hairdo on him. So I can definitely, and it's when I say that, I don't mean I'm getting it to happen. Because what it is just all about angles and distances of perspective. So there is a math to it that we humans put to it, but really you got to be careful because, oh yeah, real good. This is a good fucking video, man. I can't. This video's got 6 views. You know, should be millions of people replicating what I'm doing, not watching what I'm doing and liking me and thumbing me up and everything. I don't need likes and shares and thumbs up. What I need is everybody to be replicating what it is I'm doing, even if you don't understand it, even if you don't get it. Just go replicate what I'm doing. You will get it. You will understand it. You're going to be afraid to understand it. I get that. I'm going to press play again, and we're just going to keep playing and playing. That's a really good image. I mean, come on, man. You know, I mean, this fucking shit is unbelievable. And what happens is the camera has time to focus. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So, you know, if you're not going to stop the camera yourselves and look around and see what's coming through, and you know, I can't do that part for anybody, you know. You guys got to do that. And you guys meaning anybody that comes to my channel, and know that you're coming across something special, not someone special, something special. The information is very special when you compare it up to everything else you've ever heard, learned, thought, taught, programmed in your life. This is something special. It's something special for me too, to get to be gifted with the information at the same time, learning to be careful of all the curses that come with having the information. And the information is quite simple. The truth is we could see it all along. We denied ourselves of seeing it. The 7.8 billion zombie slaves hired governments to hide it from us. That's how simple it is. It's very, very simple. And then that gives us the right as human beings. We then have the right to deny that reality. And I keep stopping because as it's coming through, I'm changing angles and distances of perspective on that one image. And because I locked your eyes on that original image, now you're getting to watch the true creators builders work. And then you'll keep seeing image within image within image coming through as I, you know, keep playing. What's also really cool is you'll start to see the images that are in here. Some people used to see these better because that's blue sky back there, but you'll see the detail of the image. You'll see the eye, nose, mouth. Looks in the ape family, that one in particularly. Then there's another one right up here. If I crop them for you, it looks like it's going to be in the feline family. Yeah, looks like a feline nose. Think so. No eyebrows, so most likely feline or rodent. But I can get them better to really figure out exactly which breed. We can let the ears come in, things like that, and that'll tell us a little bit more. Let's see if it comes down this way. Along with seeing, you know, of course, you know, along with seeing the eyes, the nose, and the chin of this one as it's leaving out of our scene for each thing. And this is the problem I have with us putting our faces on the camera, is because we're taking credit for the true creator's work. And, you know, there's so many of this same exact look as me. How can I, you know, claim to be something special because I maybe cut my hair a little different, or I may add piercings or tattoos or things that would be different from the other millions and millions of Mike Oziaks that are out there, as far as the image goes. I mean, the image that makes up me. There is still even a lot going on now, but it's not worth me trying to show it to you. So what I'm just do is just keep letting the camera roll, because I can see I have what we call texture coming in over here, and I'm pretty sure this video is going to continue doing that. Now I could take the phone off while I'm waiting for these to come through so that you guys could see them better and look in better, but I'm not going to either. So let me see about this. Let me do a couple of things at the same time, because I don't want it to be boring. I'm looking ahead and I'm seeing that, oh shit, I might as well just leave it alone so you don't think that it's any tricky videos or anything, right? So I'm just going to pull my mouse off to the side and I'm going to let this shit roll. This is really good because I just looked ahead and see that it's really fucking good. And I knew these videos came out good. I knew the other ones that are on the Michael Oziak channel also came out good that I uploaded. But they're only good for me because if I'm the only one looking. So yeah, I'm not even going to pause it anymore. I'm going to let it run. But I want you guys to know, anyone watching my videos, this is the way it works. This is called a remaster. I'm remastering. Look at this shit, man. So I'm remastering the videos that I posted on the Right to Reality channel. That's what I'm doing. Then I'm transferring them over to the Michael Oziak channel so that anyone on the Michael Oziak channel who's really interested in seeing what it is I'm trying to show you will be able to find me, because the Michael Oziak channel is going to be going away just like the Miguel Everyone channel. So I'm actually, even the Miguel Everyone channel, I'm trying to kind of do the same thing over there. But I can't upload over there. But what I'm doing is, on the Right to Reality channel, I'm using Miguel Everyone channel videos. And Michael, you're right. You see what I'm saying? So I keep crossing them and crossing them so that, yeah, this is really fucking good. This is unbelievable. And come on, people, look at the shit. Oh my God. This is fucking clouds. This is clouds. Come on. And you're all going to deny me still after 6 years of showing you this shit? Unbelievable, man. And then if I, it's, unreal. I show you the fucking, in the trees, the rocks, the stones, the skin, so that there's no confusion anywhere. So you don't think that it's like holographic images, so that you don't get confused and think it's something religious. So you don't think it's something scientific. I mean, yet still, time after time, that's all I keep hearing. Oh, yeah, it's very scientific. It's nothing fucking scientific about it. It's just reality. The science itself is fucking falsities, just like the medical industry, just like the politics, just like all the other shit. It's all fucking fake and it's all falling apart purposely, and no one will wake up. No one will go look at reality. So when this, oh man, unbelievable, man. I'm looking around at just shit to throw on here. I'm interested in the auditors. There are some really good auditors. I like this other guy I found too. Let's see. Erie, Pennsylvania. Uh, I mean, there's so much bad shit going on everywhere. It doesn't really matter. It's all should be very obvious to everyone, but it's not. I talk to very few people nowadays, but the people I do talk to are so fucking dumbed down. It's unbelievable. They know shit. They don't get it, man. They don't get what's going on. The economy's collapsing. They don't see it. Purposely. It's like slow motion for years now. It's been going. You know, uh, you try to explain to them, yes, it was purposeful. China's going to be the new leading world power, and I can't even get to other shit. What's this now? Is Earth actually flat? What the fuck is this now? This is another. I have not seen a flat earther video in so long. What the hell was this? I just came across. There's my videos. I just came across. No, I lost it. I touched something and I lost it. What the fuck? Oh well. I've not. It showed a geocentric model on there and said something about flat Earth, but I don't know what it was. Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about the Metellus, but I can't. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's Joe Rogan. Oh my God, Joe Rogan, Neil deGrasse Tyson, on. Oh, I haven't heard this guy in a long time. Eric, what's his name? Eric Dubay. I think it's Eric Dubay. I don't have my glasses on. So he was one of the original flat earthers that worked with Obama to bring out the flat earth movement. Oh my God. So they're bringing it back, maybe? Maybe they're starting it back up again under Trump. When Trump comes back in, we'll see. A lot of hoaxes, a lot of fucking hoaxes. The Ohio 4 seems like it's a big hoax. It doesn't. I don't even know if we can believe that anybody really passed away during that. I don't know if the whole fucking thing was a hoax. It's such a joke. It's like watching the O.J. Simpson trial or some other fucking hoax ass trial. I mean, some hoaxes are partially real, where some of the people are getting fucked. Don't even realize. Just like the Boston hoax. The Boston hoax was the same thing. Then you had the New York hoax. You had all these big hoaxes through over the years that all took more and more of our rights away from us, because they use it as an excuse. Okay, so here's a dude that I like. I like this dude. And I played him before. I want to go to his channel, see what he's got for videos. Here's the deal, it's called. I'm pretty sure this is his channel. He had some good videos on earlier. Yeah, I left my kids in the car.
you step out of the car, can you please step out of the vehicle? Ma'am, can you please exit the vehicle for me? I'm asking you to step out of the vehicle for me. Can you please exit the vehicle?
Step out of the car, please, sir.
What is that?
I need you to step out of the car, sir.
I'm asking you very nicely, ma'am.
Traffic stops are important for protecting you and your family.
Traffic stops are important for protecting you and your family from drivers who suck. According to Pennsylvania versus Mims, which is case law, the Supreme Court says that you do have to step out of your car if an officer asks you to.
Yes, it's true that Pennsylvania versus Mims is Supreme Court case law. But people like Donut Operator here say that Pennsylvania versus Mims is not used by police officers to impede on your right to travel. It's not used to impede on your freedoms as an American.
The government's not impeding on your rights to travel. The government's not impeding on your rights at all for pulling you over for traffic violations.
For my safety and your safety. I'm asking you to step out of the vehicle for my safety.
You're a United States citizen. Therefore, you have to follow the laws of the United States. And Pennsylvania versus Mims says that you have to step out of your vehicle.
Oh, really?
Pennsylvania versus Mims, just look it up. And he has every right to snatch him out of his car right there.
I don't know about you, but I never feel more free or secure in my person than when somebody's snatching me out of my car for absolutely no reason.
Pennsylvania versus Mims. Just remember that. Remember that, everyone. Pennsylvania versus Mims. 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 Pennsylvania versus Mims.
Let's investigate this further, shall we?
Mims comes out in 77 and says, without reasonable suspicion, an officer can order somebody out of a vehicle on a traffic stop. And then 20 years later, under the Maryland v. Wilson ruling at the U.S. Supreme Court, 1997, they come out and say the same thing applies to passengers in a car.
In other words, I have the authority to make you feel insecure in your person because me and my armed buddies feel insecure in our persons. That's right. Our safety trumps your constitutional freedoms.
Mims says that we can order drivers out of a vehicle without any kind of suspicion. If the officer wants them out of the vehicle, the officer has the authority to order them out of the vehicle. And then they extended that to passengers. If I have the authority to order them out, that means I also have to have the authority to carry out that order in the face of resistance.
The Supreme Court case Pennsylvania v. Mims tells us that when Harry Mims was pulled over, it was the officer's general practice to order all drivers out of their vehicles, no matter the reason for the stop. The ruling stated, quote, "The state argues that this practice was adopted as a precautionary measure to afford a degree of protection to the officer, and that it may be justified on that ground," end quote. The court also argued, quote, "Establishing a face-to-face confrontation diminishes the possibility, otherwise substantial, that the driver can make unobserved movements. This, in turn, reduces the likelihood that the officer will be the victim of an assault." In other words, and these are my words, while vehicle occupants are being victimized by cops during a roadside shakedown, the court has ruled that they don't want the cops to be victimized in return while they're doing the victimizing. That doesn't sound like they're interested in protecting the rights of anyone. The court said that the safety of the officer is, quote, "legitimate and weighty." They claimed that, quote, "according to one study, approximately 30% of police shootings occurred when a police officer approached a suspect seated in an automobile," end quote. Now, if this is true, maybe they should stop pulling people over for unconstitutional reasons. Obviously, an ever-increasing number of individuals are getting sick and tired of being harassed and robbed at gunpoint, and some have understandably decided to take matters into their own hands and fight back. But look at this. The court states, quote, "The hazard of accidental injury from passing traffic to an officer standing on the driver's side of the vehicle may also be appreciable in some situations."
Rather than conversing while standing exposed to moving traffic, the officer prudently may prefer to ask the driver of the vehicle to step out of the car and off onto the shoulder of the road where the inquiry may be pursued with greater safety to both. So the courts and the cops admit that when they pull us over, they're knowingly putting our safety and their own at risk. They're increasing the likelihood that we will be seriously injured or even die during a traffic stop. Now, we're all under the impression that they're here to protect and serve us. How can they be protecting anyone while they're subjecting all of us to serious danger? Aren't we exposed to fast-moving traffic every second we're forced to sit along a roadway, whether we're sitting in our car or the trooper's car, leaning against his brush bumper, or standing off onto the shoulder of the road? It seems that the only logical remedy to this dangerous situation is to never put anyone in this situation to begin with. Now, the original reason Harry Mims was stopped in the first place was because of an expired tag. He didn't pay the state extortion fee, and the corporately controlled road pirates were there to collect on that debt. It wasn't until he stepped out of the car upon demand that the cops saw a bulge under his jacket and found a loaded .38 revolver. The passenger was also found to be in possession of a firearm, a .32 revolver. Ironically, in the land of the free, home of the brave, where the Second Amendment and the non-infringible right to keep and bear arms is supposedly the supreme law of the land, Mims and his friend were both charged for, quote, carrying a concealed deadly weapon and for unlawfully carrying a firearm without a license. This means that neither the cops nor the courts value or respect the Second Amendment. So, of course, it's no surprise that they would create the unconstitutional, infringement-affirming Pennsylvania v. Mims ruling. Focusing more closely on this ruling, Pennsylvania v. Mims held that, quote, the order to get out of the car, issued after the respondent was lawfully detained, was reasonable and thus permissible under the Fourth Amendment. The state's proffered justification for such order, the officer's safety, is both legitimate and weighty, and the intrusion into the respondent's personal liberty occasioned by the order, being at most a mere inconvenience, cannot prevail when balanced against legitimate concerns for the officer's safety, end quote. Do the American people really understand what the court is saying here? If the officer feels unsafe, then Americans, imagine this, immediately and magically lose their right to be secure in their effects. According to this ruling, you and I must relinquish that right so that the armed man in the costume who just interrupted our day and our right to freely travel can feel at ease around we innocent people whom he's currently harassing. That doesn't sound like freedom to me. According to the Fourth Amendment, that unalienable right, or unalienable right, meaning nobody can put a lien on your rights, that right to remain in a state of being secure, quote, shall not be violated. Yet the court says that, quote, the intrusion into the respondent's personal liberty occasioned by the order being at most a mere inconvenience cannot prevail. That's your rights cannot prevail when balanced against legitimate concerns for the officer's safety. And that is how the black-robed tyrants of the Supreme Court view your freedoms. They can be wiped away in an instant if the coward cop feels unsafe. And they view the trampling of your freedoms as a mere inconvenience.
Can you step out of the car? Can you please step out of the vehicle? Ma'am, can you please exit the vehicle for me? I'm asking you to step out of the vehicle for me. Can you please exit the vehicle?
Step out of the car, please, sir.
What is that?
I need you to step out of the car, sir.
Oh, I'm asking you very nicely, ma'am. I've asked you nicely. This is a lawful order. Based on both of y'all's actions, I don't feel comfortable with anything in this vehicle right now. I would like Hold on, sir. I would like to conduct this traffic stop outside of the vehicle based on your actions because I do not feel comfortable with the way you are acting.
And that's not my issue.
Or any type of thing like
There are no weapons in this car.
Okay. Well, I'm asking you again. This is a lawful order to exit the vehicle. Okay. I do not feel comfortable with either one of y'all's vehicle right now.
So this begs some obvious questions. Of the millions of traffic stops that occur every year, what percentage of those were initiated because the vehicle owner was engaged in criminal activity? And what percentage of those people actually pose a risk to officer safety? It appears that the issuance of traffic citations is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Have traffic codes and regulations been fashioned as another way the state can economically suppress large numbers of people and deprive them of their rights under the color of law? With regard to an officer's claim that he just doesn't feel safe, do the parents of a car full of children on their way to Sunday school pose the same risk as a man who just led the cops on a 50-minute high-speed chase? How about the elderly grandma? Must she exit her warm car on a cold, rainy night to quell the fears of the quivering law enforcer? If the issue in MIMS is officer safety, maybe it would be wise to immediately ask the cop who approaches your car, are you a scared cop or a brave cop? Do I terrify you, officer? Do you fear for your safety around me? If he says that he doesn't fear for his safety, then asking you to get out of the car after his admission would be beyond the scope of MIMS. Because the entire case is predicated on officer safety, right? In my opinion, Pennsylvania v. MIMS demonstrates how little the black-robed tyrants of the Supreme Court value our liberties. Traffic regulations and stops in the cops' eyes and the court's eyes trump the Constitution, which makes it all a con. If you can lose your rights simply because a trained, armed, Kevlar-vested state agent and his trigger-happy buddy are scared, then you don't have rights in the land of the free, home of the brave. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. Enforcement perspective, all you gotta do is follow commands and do what you're told.
All you have to do is follow commands, do what you're told. You'll be advised why you've been stopped as soon as you identify yourself.
You have to tell me first.
I don't do things in your order, sir. I do them in mine.
No. Name the badge number. I need your name and badge number.
Step on the vehicle before you're taken on the vehicle.
Name and badge number.
You understand that?
Name it.
By law, you have to provide your name, your vehicle registration, insurance. Nothing here is going to go as you want. It goes as I want. It's in the order of the charge sheet. Do you see this right here? Do you see this right here?
That's what type of does, though?
Me as a policeman.
I know,
That
but
means you have to
you
get
have to
out
say
of the
it.
vehicle. You're incurring another charge on yourself. You understand that?
I just want to know, why am I being pulled over?
You're making things worse for yourself.
I just want to know, why am I being pulled over? Look.
The reason why you're stopped is secondary. You understand?
Wait a minute. Shouldn't the reason why you're stopped be primary? We're going to discuss this later.
You do what you're told on a stop so it doesn't go south.
What the law is.
Do you understand that?
Do you understand the law? Do you know what the law is?
I understand the law.
Yes.
The owner of the YouTube channel, J Aircraft Engineer, was traveling from Michigan to Chicago and was pulled over by Hobart, Indiana police officer Brian Taylor, badge number 124. Now, we'll talk about this clown's ridiculous salary in a couple of minutes. But first, let's take a look at Officer Taylor's roadside manner and see if he's worth what the good people of Hobart, Indiana are being forced to pay him.
Supervisor, please.
You understand that, right?
I'm requesting your
I just
supervisor.
want you to tell me that you understand you've been asked for ID already.
When there's a crime,
because when you don't provide it, it's an additional charge. I'm just letting you know.
It's not a crime, though.
It is a crime to not
Why am I
identify
putting
yourself.
over?
You're on a traffic stop right now.
For what, though?
You'll be
You can't just pull somebody
advised
over
why
for
you've
no
been stopped
reason.
as soon as you identify
You
yourself.
have to tell me first.
I don't do things in your order, sir. I do them in mine.
Name and
That's how
badge.
things work.
Name and badge number.
Your ID,
Name-
your
name and
registration,
badge number,
and your
please.
insurance. Are you going to provide that? Yes or no?
Name and badge number, please.
Is that a yes or no?
Name and badge number, please. I'm not refusing. Name and
Are
badge
you
number.
going to provide the documents I requested?
As soon as you told me.
Yes or no?
Why are you putting me over? No. Name and badge number. I need your name and badge number.
Step out the vehicle before you're taken on the vehicle.
Name and badge number.
You understand that?
Name and badge number.
I'm just letting you
This
know
is
you're
unlawful,
getting an
man.
option.
Look,
I don't even
listen,
have
man.
to
Look.
get that to you.
Listen.
You understand you have to step out now.
Can you listen to me real quick?
I don't know your name, but I'm hoping that you understand
Please,
because I've been clear to
please,
you.
look, please, can you
You
listen to me?
have to get out of the vehicle.
Can you please listen to me real quick?
I'm going to listen to you as soon as you do what you're asked. By law, you have to provide your name, your vehicle registration, and insurance. And now that you haven't done that, you're going to step out of the car.
What's the statute for that?
And then everything will be explained to you.
Please,
All right? It's not in
please
your
explain this to me
order,
now,
and you are
please.
not in charge.
Please explain to me
Just so you
now.
understand that, okay? Go ahead and step out and bring
I just wanna know-
your documents with you.
I just want to know why am I being pulled
You're
over?
going to be advised.
Now, please.
Nothing here is going to go as you want. It goes as I want. Do you understand you are not in charge?
That's not how it goes. It has to
Do
be
you
by
understand that?
law.
So now you have to step out of the vehicle. I'm going to identify you, and then you'll be advised why you're on the side of the road right now.
Can I have your-
Not in the order in which you choose.
Can I have your supervisor,
It's in
please?
the order in which I choose.
I'm requesting your supervisor.
So go ahead and step out of the car.
Sir, can I have your name and badge number real quick?
You've been advised to step out of the vehicle.
Can I have your name and badge
That
number?
opportunity.
You're required. You're required to provide your name and badge
You
number.
have a camera. Do you see this right here? Do you see this right here?
That was the type of judge, though?
Identifying me as a policeman.
I know, but
That means
you
you
have to
get
say
out of
it.
the vehicle.
You have to verbally say it. You have to verbally
I've
say it.
explained it to you now. So now that you've been advised and you're refusing to do so, you're additionally
I quote.
you're
I
excuse
quote,
me,
man.
you're incurring another charge on yourself. You understand that? Go ahead and step
Quote,
out.
man. I'm requesting your supervisor, please. I'm requesting your supervisor.
Go ahead and step out.
I'm requesting your supervisor, please.
You're just making things go like this for no reason.
Man, look, come here. I just want to know, why am I being pulled over? Why am I being pulled over? I just want to know, why am I being pulled over? Look, can we truthful with you? No, right here, I'm talking about right here. I don't need to get out.
Sir, you're making things worse for yourself. It's foolish.
I'm saying, why am I being targeted? You hear me? Why am I being targeted? Why am I being singled out? No, I'm not. Why am I being... Can I talk?
I'm not going to say it again.
Why am I being singled out?
Say it again. At this point, you haven't gotten a ticket. You're not under arrest.
I know, but
My commands. You know that those things will happen.
why am I being pulled over? Why am I... This is not top... This isn't a stop.
Follow my instructions.
Dude, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Of course you can.
You're the customer supervisor. I'm requesting your supervisor, please. I just want to know, why am I being pulled over? I'm trying to talk. I just want to know, why am I being pulled over? You're not doing your best. You're not, though. Why am I being pulled over?
Just understand this was your decision.
That's exactly what any abuser says to his victim. Just so you understand, this was your decision. Look what you made me do.
Look what you made me do.
You're the reason you're face down on the gravel right now. I'm not the reason. Classic abuse verbiage. Textbook victim blaming.
We got a fool here. He pulled me over for no reason. He hasn't told me why I'm being pulled over. I asked for his name and badge number. He didn't provide it. He asked me to provide ID. I asked, why am I being pulled over? I'm not just going to give you my ID for no reason. That's not how the law goes. I asked for his supervisor. He's not getting his supervisor for me. It's what you call an unlawful detainment. So he was over there at first. He came on this side. He tried to open up the door, but this car, if the car is on, the door remained locked. I was recording him. I asked for his name and dad's number. He wouldn't tell me. And then he goes back and sits inside his vehicle. Pulled over for no reason. He wouldn't tell me what. He tried to play that intimidation tactic like he's going to pull me out. He's not going to pull me out. He didn't want to tell me why I was being pulled over. He said, I'll tell you that once you give me your license and registrations and insurance. No, that's not how it goes, man. And I saw him too, man. I saw him on the median. I wasn't speeding. I got the car on cruise control, and I was following traffic. So I mean, I wasn't doing nothing. But I said to myself, watch. As soon as this pig sees a black man driving, he gonna come out and pull me over. And that's exactly what he did. On my way to work from Michigan, headed to Chicago. I still got about, I want to say, probably about a little over an hour and a half to go. And this is what I gotta deal with, man. Also, that's a unmarked vehicle too. Here he comes, y'all.
All right, sir.
What's up, man?
Do you have your name?
Huh?
Do you have your name?
Why?
Excuse me?
Just want to know why, man. Yes, why?
Why what?
Why do you want my name?
Because you're on a traffic stop. You're required to give it. Do you understand that?
For what, though?
For what?
Why did you pull me over?
Okay.
Why did it stop happening? That's all I want to know, man.
Yeah. You got to realize something. What's your first name?
Why?
Your name is why?
No, it's not why.
The reason,
Come on, man.
the reason why you're stopped is secondary. Do you understand?
Yeah, you heard that right. He actually said it. Officer Brian Taylor said the silent part out loud. Let's listen to it again.
The reason why you're stopped is secondary. Do you understand?
The only legitimate reason you should be pulled over is because you're using your vehicle in a way that endangers others on the roadway. If Officer Taylor's reason is secondary, what's the primary reason? Maybe it is because of the color of his skin. Now's a good time as any to discuss Officer Taylor's salary over there at the Hobart, Indiana Police Department. In 2018, the Hobart tax cattle were fleeced to the tune of $82,000 a year just to keep this nitwit on the road. As of 2021, Taylor was raking in the handsome sum of nearly $91,000 a year. And this is 22.9% higher than the average pay for city employees and 30.8% higher than the national average for government employees. With the salary trajectory he's been on, there's no doubt he's making more these days to commit his road piracy operation on Indiana highways. Based on this video, do you think Brian Taylor is worth the money? Here's how this illegal traffic stop ends.
Because if
what would the first charge be then?
Are you going to talk or listen?
What would the first charge be?
Are you going to talk or listen?
Oh, go ahead.
So I'll tell you what.
Patrolman,
If I tell you why I stopped you, and you don't like that, and then you refuse to give me your identification, how do you think that goes? Now all of a sudden we're arguing, right?
What's the reason?
That's why you identify yourself first, and that's why you follow commands of a policeman.
Well, the
That's
law
why
is...
you do what you're told on a stop so it doesn't go south.
Well, the law is...
Do you understand that?
Do you understand the law? Do you know what the law is?
Do I understand the law?
Yes.
I think I do, sir. I appreciate the question, though.
Did you hold
Anyway,
uphold to the Constitution?
I'm sorry?
Did you uphold to the Constitution?
Listen, I'll tell you what, this is how it's going to end.
See how he's not
You understand
answering?
me? This is how it's going to end. I don't have time for these stupid games. Okay?
What games?
You feel like the way that you're acting is appropriate? You feel like the way that you've treated...
I know my rights, man. That's what it is.
Clearly you don't. But
Yes,
this is
I
what
do.
I have to do. I have other things that are way more important than this. Do you understand that? You play your games, you do everything that you're doing right now, and you'll find yourself in a negative position. Do you understand that? All you have to do is follow commands, do what you're told.
That's not how it
You
goes.
know, this,
That's what y'all want to
what
do,
you
man.
don't understand is
Y'all want to be
all you
in
want to do is
control
argue
all the time.
right?
Y'all work for
and
us.
that's the problem.
Y'all work for us, man.
You realize that? That's what's
I don't just want
wrong
to
with the
argue.
things that you're doing
I don't just
today,
want to argue.
okay?
I don't just want to
So,
argue.
You're free to go. You
Okay.
understand that?
Yep.
Just understand this. There are laws on the road for a reason. You should follow them so that you
What law
don't
did I
end up
break
on a
then?
traffic stop.
What
You
law-
understand?
okay,
And
what
you
law did
don't
I
end
break?
up getting tickets and fines and fees and ridiculous behavior.
What
you
law-
understand that?
what law did I
You
break?
should focus on that.
What law did I
Okay?
break?
Have a great day.
That's what I thought. Fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. That's what the fuck I thought. And that's why people stand up for your rights, man. Stand up for your fucking rights, man. What law did I break? Nothing. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Now, a lot of people look at a video like this and say, hey, that's great. Nothing happened. But actually, something did happen. This man was harassed and threatened by a psycho with a gun. At any moment, things could have gone really bad. The only reason Officer Taylor didn't get what he wanted is because this man stood his ground and stood up for himself. How many others have been fined, harassed, even kidnapped and caged because they didn't know their rights when Brian Taylor arrived on the scene? Well, what's the secondary reason nonsense Taylor spewed? See, time is valuable. We all have a limited supply. And when cops pull you over like this, they're wasting the time you'll never get back.
Service animal, Sunshine.
I did. I just saw you take money from that car.
Yeah, you saw me take money, but you didn't see me ask.
All right, let me get your ID, okay?
You can't ask for my ID.
Yes, I can.
Giving you money.
Okay, get your dog, okay? Yes, I can. It's called panhandling. You can give me your ID or you can go to jail for REO. Which one you want to do?
What's the ID for that?
Because I'm about to write you a citation
For what?
for panhandling.
That's not panhandling.
Yes, it is.
If you come up to me and give me money,
You walked out to the car.
because they stopped.
Give me
You
your
saw
ID.
the whole
Give
situation.
me your ID or you're going to jail for RDO, which is resist, delay, obstruct. Okay?
You're gonna write a disabled veteran that's living in the woods a ticket.
Yes, because I asked you not to do it, and you
I
did
didn't
it.
do it. You
And I
sit
sit there
there,
and
come
watch
up here, I'm
you.
packing my stuff up.
I sit there and watch
You watch me walk up the sidewalk.
You're making 30 city. I'm not okay. That's subject.
Like you literally watched me walk up the sidewalk.
Okay,
You
give me
watched
your
the car
ID, sir.
stop. I'm
You,
recording.
you violated a city
No, I
ordinance.
didn't. No, I didn't. There's no city ordinance that says somebody can't give me money. Because I
And
did
you
not have.
obstructed traffic.
No, I didn't.
I probably need a sergeant out here. He's refusing to give me this ID. Now you see we got a sergeant in multiple units on their way out here. And I can almost guarantee you it's not going to go the way you want it to go.
I want to talk to the supervisor.
He's on his way out here.
You know what? This one's so sad I don't even want to watch it. They tased the dog and the dog ends up getting hit by a fucking car and everything. Fucking scumbags, man. I can't hear that one again. Let's look around. Look at something I have not seen yet.
That literally just happened in a small town in Michigan. Not the kick them down the steps part, but they did unseat their entire government and they did change the locks on the former government's offices. People often say, you can't fight City Hall. Well, you can't say that to the people of Green Charter Township, Michigan anymore, because they did just that. They fought and got every last one of the town-hating scoundrels in their government ousted. Residents of Green Charter Township, Michigan, strongly disapproved of their local township board's decision to greenlight the construction of a Chinese-connected electric vehicle battery plant in their community. The name of the company is Goshen. It's billed as an energy solutions battery technology company with locations in Fremont, California, Independence, Ohio, Germany, Shanghai, and Singapore. The project was expected to create more than 2,300 jobs as part of a $2.34 billion investment. And by the way, Chinese entities currently own more than 383,000 acres of U.S. farmland, and some Americans have had enough. Despite the backlash from residents, the board moved forward with the Chinese-affiliated project.
One race you probably did not see on the front
You know
pages
what?
of
There's a
most
red filter
newspapers, at
already
least,
on
and
there,
it's a
so I'm
race
gonna
that's
change the
sending
color of the
shockwaves
filter, I think.
from one small town in
Go with a
Michigan
blue
all the way to
filter or
China.
something.
Voters in a small Michigan township tossed out their entire town board last night. A locksmith was even brought in to change the locks on the ousted officials' former offices late night. They were voted out because they supported a controversial battery plant linked to the Chinese government.
We're in the town hall. It's very strange because the government is just gone. They all packed up yesterday. This was the supervisor's office. He took his desk, took a bunch of other stuff. It's empty now. The clerk's office down here, Elizabeth, where they do a lot of the town business, is just empty. The new board members are going to move in, get everything going, and they say one of their biggest priorities is stopping that project that's associated with China. There's a new government in Green Charter Township, Michigan, and they didn't waste any time changing the locks at the town hall. Residents ousted their entire town board last night, upset after they approved plans for a massive Chinese-affiliated electric vehicle battery plant.
I think they thought we were a bunch of local yokel rednecks that wouldn't do anything, and we were blessed with a crew that was very intelligent.
But it's been a long journey to this point. When we first arrived in Green Charter Township last year, residents were angry.
My family members fought communism. And you're bringing it right here.
Everybody's entitled to an opinion, and guess what China's is? They don't like us.
The township board was not answering our questions about secret deals with Chinese-affiliated company Goshen.
Mr. Jernstead, my name is Brian Enton. I'm a reporter with News Nation. With News Nation? I don't know. Do you have a contract with Goshen involving your land? No comment.
Did you sell Goshen your land?
I don't know yet.
Despite the backlash from what seemed like almost everyone in the town, the board moved forward with the Chinese-affiliated project. What do you make of the Chinese connection?
Well, it's very disturbing because, for one, from the beginning, there's been a complete denial of the connection.
So why here? Why do you
I don't know, other than somebody must be benefiting from it.
That was Corey Rebo back in April. She had no experience in politics, but ran for clerk and won last night. What can you do now to stop the Goshen project?
We just plan on making it as difficult as possible for them to continue their process. They don't have a site plan, they don't have permits yet, so we're not their friend.
As far as demographics, Green Charter Township has about 3,200 people, most of whom vehemently rejected the idea of Goshen coming to town. A lot of people involved in unseating the local government goons had no experience in politics. And it's the possible communist connection that so many Green Charter Township residents said drove them to the polls and fueled the town's anger. The Chinese-affiliated company Goshen previously denied allegiance to the Communist Party of China. However, its corporate records say, quote, "The company shall set up a party organization and carry out party activities in accordance with the Constitution of the Communist Party of China." Resident Harry King said, "Right now, we're not on friendly terms with China. They're threatening us, and I consider them the enemy. I don't want them here either. And with the overwhelming distrust for the town's government, a clerk from a neighboring township ran the election and counted the ballots. Cheers erupted as voters heard the results from the recall election held to vote out the entire town board. The new board will be sworn in on Wednesday, and the process to keep Goshen out of their township will begin. Apparently, Goshen has already bought the property, so the new board is expecting a long road ahead, but they said they're willing to fight. One of the residents said, "We want everyone to have a voice and not have any secrecy anymore. This whole thing that went down with Goshen was horrible from the You do not have a Fifth Amendment right. We don't have rights anyway, okay, guys? It's all illusory. You can, at 2:30 this morning, while you're fast asleep, trying to get rest for your next day at work so that you can, try to put food on your family's table and a roof over the head and clothes on your back. At 2:30 this morning, the feds could break down your door. Whether it's the right door or not, they don't care about the address. They don't care about the ramifications. They don't care about the consequences. They don't care about the loss of life. Pizza delivery drivers are more accurate in getting the right address than a SWAT team who's coming to do somebody harm. They don't care if it's the wrong address. But at 2:30 this morning, you could have your door broken down, your windows shattered, flashbangs going off, your life in jeopardy, your dog killed, all because they got the wrong house. Because we don't have freedom in America. There's nothing to stop them from doing that. Helicopters in the sky, dogs on the ground, cruisers at full speed, putting people in danger. They have qualified immunity. Badges and uniforms in their minds grant special rights. So if you think we have rights, you got to wake up and smell the coffee and figure out what's really going on. And in regard to the Fifth Amendment, even according to the black-robed tyrants of the Supreme Court in Salinas versus Texas, you don't even have a Fifth Amendment right to be silent or have that silence work for you unless you specifically, unequivocally invoke that right. Let me go over this real quick. I'm just going to read it word for word because it's a pretty interesting case, and it's also interesting how the black-robed tyrants take full advantage of what they've given themselves back in 1803 with Marbury versus Madison, and they've given themselves the power of judicial review. In other words, they can look at the Constitution and they will determine what it means, and they will determine how it's applied, and they will determine if you've lived according to the standard of the Constitution. So that makes the Constitution not the supreme law of the land, but the interpretation of the Constitution by the black-robed tyrants of the Supreme Court. And so here are the facts of the case. In 1992, Houston police officers found 2 homicide victims. The investigation led officers to Mr. Salinas. Salinas agreed to accompany the officers to the police station where he was questioned for about an hour. Salinas was not under arrest at this time and had not been read his Miranda rights. Now, this is in 1993. Miranda came around back in 1966. That was Ernesto Miranda. That was that case there. Salinas answered every question until an officer asked whether the shotgun shells found at the scene of the crime would match the gun found in Salinas' home. According to the officer, Salinas remained silent. We're going to find out why that's a problem here in a second. And demonstrated signs of deception. Oh, he was squirming in his seat. He was blinking his eyes. He was shifting his weight. He was crossing his arms. He was exhibiting signs of deception, according to the police officer. The ballistics and analysis later matched Salinas' gun with the casings at the scene. Police also found a witness who said Salinas admitted to killing the victims. In 1993, Salinas was charged with the murders, but he got the heck out of Dodge and he could not be located. 15 years later, check this out. Salinas was finally captured. The first trial ended in a mistrial. At the second trial, the prosecution attempted to introduce evidence of the Salinas' silence about the gun casings. Salinas objected, arguing that he could invoke his Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination whether he was in custody or not. We're going to find out in a second that the black robe tyrants of the Supreme Court said, no, that's not the way it works. Because we say it's not the way it works. We're just going to make a carte blanche arbitrary edict here. The trial court admitted the evidence, and Salinas was found guilty and sentenced to 20 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. The 14th Court of Appeals, Harris County, Texas, affirmed, noting that the courts that have addressed this issue are divided. The Court of Criminal Appeals of Texas affirmed. So the question is, does the Fifth Amendment self-incrimination clause protect a defendant's refusal to answer questions asked by law enforcement before he has been arrested or read his Miranda rights? In other words, do you have Fifth Amendment protection just by remaining silent? Here's another question. Do you have Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination by saying, I don't answer questions? You know what the Supreme Court says? No, you don't. You don't have Fifth Amendment protections unless you specifically and unambiguously say, I invoke my right to remain silent. That's what the Supreme Court's saying in Salinas versus Texas. And basically, whether we like it or not, yeah, it's not a real law like the law of gravity or the law of entropy. It's not a real law. All laws are backed by the threat of force. It's the opinions of political parasites backed by the threat of force. And who initiates that force? The law enforcement class. So the political class makes the rules, and the law enforcement class enforces those rules. If you step out of line, whammo. But even within their own rules, there are these certain magic words that you got to say or you don't have the rights. How many Americans do you think know that they don't have the right to remain silent unless they specifically invoke the right to remain silent? I bet very, very few. I bet there's a lot of people out there who think that it's okay just to say, I don't answer questions, and then to remain silent. You haven't invoked your Fifth Amendment right according to Salinas versus Texas. And let's read this. So the question is, does the Fifth Amendment self-incrimination clause protect, let's just boil it down, protect you just by remaining silent? The answer by the Supreme Court is no. So Justice Samuel Alito announced the judgment for the divided court, and it was divided. It was like 5-4. Justice Alito, joined by Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Kennedy, concluded that the Fifth Amendment's privilege against self-incrimination does not extend to defendants who simply decide to remain mute during questioning. Did you know that? Did you know that you don't automatically get Fifth Amendment protections if you just decide to shut up? It's not enough just to shut up. Before you shut up, you have to say, I invoke my Fifth Amendment rights, according to the frickin' court. But wait, there's more. Longstanding judicial precedent has held that any witness who desires protection against self-incrimination must explicitly claim that protection. It must be explicit, it must be clear, it must be unambiguous. This requirement ensures that the government is put on notice when a defendant intends to claim this privilege. Did you see that? So this is a commentary on the case. But from the perspective of the Supreme Court, your Fifth Amendment right isn't a right at all. It's a privilege. And you don't have it at all unless you specifically invoke it. Tell me that's not crazy, upside down, convoluted world. And allows the government to either argue that the testimony is not self-incriminating or offer immunity. Oh, who has all the power there? The plurality reiterated two exceptions to this principle. One, that a criminal defendant does not need to take the stand at a trial in order to explicitly claim this privilege. They're calling it a privilege, guys. It's not the Bill of Privileges. It's the Bill of Rights. You don't have the privilege of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. A privilege, it sounds like something that was given to you. If it's you don't have unalienable privileges. You have unalienable rights, rights that weren't given to you, rights that can't legitimately be taken away from you. But the court wants to talk about this in terms and in the sphere and on the level of privilege. What the frick is up with that? And that's why I call them the black robe tyrants of the Supreme Court. That's why I call the supreme law of the land the Supreme Court, especially after 1803 Marbury versus Madison. When you arbitrarily grant yourself the power of judicial review. In other words, I will be the sole arbiter and interpreter of the Constitution. I'll tell you what it means, and I'll tell you how you got to act. Otherwise, you're going to get slammed by the court system. That's being above the Constitution. It's putting yourself above the Constitution, at least since 1803. Now, does that mean that there aren't some good rulings that come down the pike every once in a while from the Supreme Court? No, because good rulings do come down the pike in the Supreme Court, like the one the Warren versus D.C. when they said, no, you got the right to self-protection according to the Second Amendment. But then they slap all these, it's convoluted in itself because they slap all these other restrictions on it. But you got to make sure it's registered. But you got to have a 10 or 45 day waiting period or whatever. That is called infringement. I am simple. Shall not be infringed means shall not be infringed. No infringements, no limitations whatsoever. And it's more than you have the right to keep and bear arms. It's that other people don't have the right to keep you from keeping and bearing arms, if that makes sense. So there's more that can be said on this because there are a couple of court cases like Burgess versus Tompkins, and let's see if I can show you this. Burgess versus Tompkins in 2010, and Miranda versus Arizona from 1966. That's where we get the Miranda rights. But just know that according to the Supreme Court, you do not have a Fifth Amendment right unless you specifically, clearly, unambiguously invoke that right. In other words, I invoke my right to remain silent under the Fifth Amendment. Unless you spell it out for them, you articulate it to the cop, then anything that you say can and will be used against you in the kangaroo court of law. I've got the link for this in the description, and people are like, man, that's so expensive. If you genuinely can't afford it, everything will be supplied to you for free. If you can't afford it, then pay it forward for those who can't. It's as simple as that. But knowledge is power. Schoolhouse Rock was right. Knowledge is power. And if you remain in ignorance, if you don't stand on morality and virtue, which the cops are absolutely not doing, then you will sink under your own weight without the aid of foreign invaders. And I am telling you, we have domestic and foreign invaders, but we're more at risk from the domestic LEO, law enforcement organization terror cell, than we are from any Al-Qaeda individual who wants to strap a you-know-what to their chest and walk it.
Oh, there's the guy again. There's the guy.
Listen, here, sir.
Okay, let's try this out. I'm just here documenting some stuff.
I don't need to document. You got to exit the building.
Oh no, this is public.
No, it's not. This is a private business.
So this is not the school district?
This is
the maintenance yard?
Public property. Come on.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you a question.
Okay, I'm gonna just call the police.
What's your name?
And position here? Just public record, ma'am.
Holy overpaid public servant snob psychopaths, Batman.
Your salary, date of hire, right? We're not here for that. If you could just identify properly. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. We will get your information, though.
Wait till you see the massive salary public servant Melanie rakes in as she treats the public with massive contempt.
I have nothing to say.
Well, you just said something right now. So obviously you do. This is how our public servants treat us, guys. Well, you could have said, excuse me. He would have been happy to move. And if you guys notice, they got cameras right up there watching us. I wonder if they make any issues about that. Hello. Hello, sir. How are you? I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Appreciate you.
Keep your eyes peeled because we're also going to have a special appearance by San Ramon's Three Little Pigs. Or is that Three Blind Mice? And keep your eye on this one right here because he's got some strange body and eye movements going on.
I'm not asking. I'm letting you know you're dismissed at this point. You can get back to work. So treat members of the public with a little more respect. You will talk to your boss properly. Am I clear?
You're not my boss.
Am I clear?
You're not my boss.
Am I clear? Lower your tone. You work for me. You work for me. You work for me. You're now making your department look bad. You're shaking, man. You need to get a candy up there, bro.
What are you filming?
Well, you're filming me. Now I'm going to have to go do a public records request on you. You're a public worker.
You work for me, I don't work for you.
Before we get started, subscribe, become a channel member, and grab a shirt. Links in the description. My purpose here is simple: to highlight channel owners who excel not only at uncovering the overt and covert tyranny residing in the hearts of our so-called public servants in order to hold them accountable, but to also put a spotlight on those who are also proficient at calmly and firmly articulating and asserting the unalienable rights each and every one of us is born with. It's kind of the concept of, if one man advances justice anywhere, we can all advance justice everywhere. Today's video comes from the Anthony X channel. If you get something out of his work, visit him, subscribe to his channel, and let him know Here's the Deal sent you. In this video, Anthony X and Angry Vet Audits conduct an audit of the San Ramon Valley Unified School District. Now, spoiler alert, what they encounter are overpaid, pompous public servant snobs who harbor great disdain for the public that they're supposed to be serving. Shockingly, one of these snobbish servants, Assistant Superintendent Melanie Jones, makes a staggering $291,000 frickin' dollars per year.
What?
You can't be taking pictures.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Who are you from?
Who am I? You mean where am I from, or who am I from, or what do you mean?
Who are you here to see?
Who am I here to see?
Yeah.
Right now, you. Take care, brother. Appreciate you. I know you got a tough job, man.
In a minute, thank you.
Man, he's got a busy schedule.
Hey, he's got work to do.
I guess I can't sign for it. I'd help you out if I could. So this lady's more concerned about us recording than getting this guy on the road. He's probably got, who knows, 500 stops today. I could be way off, but he's a busy guy.
Hi, thank you.
He just needs a quick signature. The lady took off. We just want to get him back on the road. Oh, there's the guy again. There's the guy. He's back.
What's here, sir?
I was trying to tell her I'm just here documenting some stuff.
You don't need to document. You got to exit the building.
Oh no, this is public.
No, it's not. This is a private business.
So this is not the school district?
This is
the maintenance yard?
Public property. Come on.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you a question.
Okay, I'm gonna just call the police.
There you go. So this is how our public servants treat us guys. He was a guy giving me the hard time.
No, you can't go. You can't go.
I'm not going behind her now.
Whoa, man. Hey,
Excuse me.
You can't just barge through people like that.
Yeah, when this is my door.
Just say, excuse me, we're not blocking you.
Thank you.
There you go.
Walk through someone like that. Barge through. It's not a workspace. I'm standing right here. This is not a workspace.
Yeah,
that is a workspace.
At this point,
please. Sir, don't keep stepping.
Well, you could have said, excuse me. He would have been happy to move.
Well, can you guys please let her do her work?
Oh, absolutely. We're not going to prevent her.
Okay, but can you guys...
There was actually someone here before trying to get a signature, and she took off, and she was neglecting her work. She was neglecting her work.
Thank you. Okay, I need you to leave now, please. This is our workspace.
I'm not going to go in your workspace. Don't worry.
That is our workspace. We cannot work in there with that.
Of course you can.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You could get back to work, though, and stop wasting tax dollars.
I will as soon as you're able to depart. I think these guys can order waiting to go in. You guys' names?
You can call me a guy with a camera number 1. There's a guy with a camera number 2. We're doing good until she almost ran us over.
Just give her a desk, please.
So you're justifying it. You're justifying it.
With proper etiquette.
John, let's start fresh and just have her apologize. We'll be on our way. It's not appropriate.
John, that's not trying to validate your actions here.
John, humor me. Let's say she was blocking my path. Do I have a right to run her over? Do I have a right to just trample all over her? Uh-oh, guys. They got the screen wide open while we're right here. I'll give you a chance to go and turn it off then. So what you're saying is there's confidential information at the desk where the public is? That's not right.
I do not know what's at this desk, but it's someone's email.
Now, if all an auditor ever uncovered was the private information of a member of the public on a public computer whose monitor was facing a public lobby, that's all the proof we need of the validity of the legitimacy of the auditing community. Do you realize the damage that could be done to a person simply because a public employee haphazardly revealed private information?
That's a recommendation. Let's turn the monitor this way so the back of it's towards us. That's just a simple solution. I'm here to help you, man. We're gonna walk you through this. You're gonna be okay. And if you guys notice, they got cameras right up there watching us. I wonder if they make any issues about that. Hey, John, do you have a business card by any chance? Do you have a business card?
I don't, but this is my name.
Gotcha. You don't have a card though, like with like your email and.
I go J Campbell Piano.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw VUSD on there.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Sure.
Hey, just for a second though, we need to get him back to work.
1 second.
Time's up.
I don't want to be on the phone.
Okay, if you want to turn around then.
I want to go to the
I
bathroom.
just had to get your badge real quick. Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name now. If you give it to the printer. What's your name?
I didn't provide my name.
What's your name?
In position here? Just public record, ma'am. Your salary, date of hire, right? We're not here for that. If you could just identify properly. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. We will get your information though.
And this right here is the San Ramon Unified School District Assistant Superintendent Melanie Jones. Well, Melanie, according to a records request, makes over $291,000 a year. If she works just 2,080 hours per year, which is 52 weeks times 40 hours, she's earning $139 per hour. And she can't even bring herself to pretend to be friendly. I'd come out singing songs, passing out candy and chocolates, maybe even presents, and answering any question that's asked of me for that kind of money. Probably with the dumbest smile on my face to boot. Heck, I might even throw in a complimentary massage and shoe shine. I'd be the best servant you've ever seen.
You're welcome to.
Why not just shine like a star and say, oh, I'm so-and-so, I'm the deputy clerk, or I'm the supervisor.
Don't let your ego
If you
get
guys
out.
have any questions, I'm here to help you. I'm here to serve you. You know, we're here for the people. It's just a camera, man. Let's start fresh. Would you like to identify properly as a public worker, which is public record, ma'am, or are you going to just keep...
I have nothing to say.
Well, you just said something right now, so obviously you do. You called John back there probably to tell him to get back to work. Sounds like you do have a lot to say. So guys, we're at the district office here, and this is how they treat members of the public. Now we're going to have to do a FOIA request. So ma'am, I'd like to do a FOIA request. Do you have a Public Freedom of Information Act form, or would you like to write it down and put the request in for me? Ma'am?
Your information, and I will make sure that was.
Well, I need you to write it down. That's how the Freedom of Information Act works. Because, like, what if I write it down and you can't read my writing or something? So I need you to write it down, and I'd like to get a signed, stamped, and date copy. So.
Date copy of
Of the freedom, the request.
what? What are you requesting?
Well, can you get a pen and paper, and I'll give you the information? I need it written down, though,
You're
ma'am.
both talking at the same time. I can't hear and understand you. So clarify what it is that you're requesting. If you need a form from the district, I will provide you what you
I
need.
do. I need a public records request form, or a blank piece of paper and a pen, and you can take my information down. Whatever's easier for you. I'm flexible.
I believe that I believe that information is on the district website, but let me.
I don't have access to the website, though, ma'am. It's supposed to be readily available to any member of the public during normal business operational hours. Got someone else over there, guys. Hello. Hello, sir. How are you? I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Appreciate you. The way the law works is you have to take that request and then you pass it on to the proper channels to the proper person. Whether they give us the information or not, that's a whole nother story, but you have to take our request. Or if you want to give me a blank piece of paper, and then if you're refusing to write it down, I'll write it down, and then you can sign, date it, and stamp it.
Excuse me, I don't want to be recorded.
Ma'am?
I don't want to be recorded. Thank you.
The way you treated me, I really don't care.
Christy.
I'm not recording all day.
Back to the
Casey
department.
trying to help me again.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we got a thumbnail.
You're dismissed.
Oh, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't have internet access,
And
ma'am.
now they got my
Sorry, just to clarify, just for the record, ma'am, are you refusing to take my request?
No, I'm giving you the
No,
process to.
My question is, to clarify, then you are refusing to take it? So, ma'am, if I can't force you to do it, I'm not going to be here all day. There's no point in that, going around in circles here. Just to clarify, though, for the record, are you refusing to take my request, my public information request?
I never said that.
Well, so let's take it then.
I never said that. I gave
So you
the
are
email
refusing.
to submit your request.
That's not my question. My question is, are you refusing to take my
I never
info?
said that.
Are you refusing to take my request?
I'm not going to continue to.
Are you refusing to take my request?
And I've given you the email to submit.
We will be exposing this behavior. This is unacceptable. This is tyrannical behavior. She works for the people. This is a front desk where people come to get service, and she's refusing to give me service. What if someone comes in like myself that currently does not have access to the internet? She's basically saying, if you come in, or what if you have a disability under the Disability Act, and you don't have access to write, you don't read or write? She's basically saying she will not help you. You can get no public records. Unreal, guys. Man, the sooner you help us, the sooner we can leave. Isn't that your goal, to get us out of here? Hello?
Hey.
These gentlemen are disrupting the funds here today.
No, we're not. We're just trying to get public records, and she doesn't want to help us.
What are you guys trying to get?
Public records.
Anything?
Well, yeah, I'd like her to take a public records request, and I'd like her to submit it, sign it, date it, and stamp it, give me a copy back, and we'll be on our way. She has to, by law, take our request, and then she has to pass it to the proper channel. Whether they give us that information or not, that's a whole other story. They might redact some of the information, they might give it to us. But she has to take our request. The Disability Act, if I'm not able to read or write, she has to take that request. That's the law.
So you guys normally get directed to the website?
Everything is directed through the superintendent's office, so all the public records request act go through, the emails are submitted to the superintendent's office, and that's how we process them. We don't, he asked for a form, we don't have a form.
Now, I just want to point out a consistent theme in all of these auditing videos. Public servants in these publicly accessible buildings often freak out about one man with a camera. And to soothe their alarm and their panic and to help quell their fears, they ironically and hilariously call more guys who bring even more cameras into the freak out zone.
No, but I'm flexible. I also gave her the option. If she wants to write it down on a blank piece of paper, that's fine too. That'll actually be sufficient. Sign it, date it, stamp it, give us a copy back, one for them, one for us. Then they have 10 days to respond to us whether they're going to give us that information or not. Other than that, though, I don't know why she wasted resources calling you guys. We're just in a public lobby here.
Is there any other route we can go besides just directing the...
I can give him something to write his request on, and he can fill it out and submit it to me, and I'll take it.
She didn't say that before, but just so you know, the reason, though, I don't want to do that, because I've had this happen before, and that's why the law is the law, that she has to take it, because there have been times when someone, like, let's say I write something down, and she can't quite read my chicken scratch, and then I don't get the records I need on there. So I need her to write it down. That way, when she submits those records to the proper department, if they have a question, they can contact her and clarify what it is.
They can contact you. And
well, it's gonna be anonymous, ma'am. It's gonna be anonymous. I'm gonna come back in 2 weeks to get that information. So how could they contact me?
Well, if you really want the information, you provide your information.
No. That's not how the law works, though, ma'am. That's not how the law works.
Just get to make those.
Ma'am, it's a simple request. I told you I'd be on my way. Take my request. It'll take you 2 minutes. Write it down, sign it, date it, stamp it. We're gone. You'll probably never see us again.
I'll provide you some information.
And remember, you have 10 business days to reply.
And what I'm wondering, though, is how come when they weren't here, you said you wouldn't even do that? You wouldn't even give us a piece of paper. It had to be on email.
I told you I didn't have a form.
You actually said you didn't want to talk to us.
So I'm not going to argue with these gentlemen all afternoon.
Yeah, just do your job, take the request, submit it where it needs to be submitted. And then
if you guys would just like to let her know that we're allowed to record in here, like, let's get you guys back to work. I know you're just doing your job. You got a call here. I don't blame you guys for doing your job. I'm remain here as long on there. Yeah. I'm not asking. I'm letting you know you're dismissed at this point. You can get back to work. So treat members of the public with a little more respect. You will talk to your boss properly. Am I clear?
You're not my boss.
Am I clear?
You're not my
Am I clear?
You're not my
Am I clear? Am I clear? Am I clear?
Correct.
Lower your tone. You work for me. You work for me. You work for me. These guys were doing awesome. You're now making your department look bad.
So what is it exactly that you need?
Public records request. Public records request.
Okay. And
I'm working on a story.
email address
I don't have.
provided you isn't sufficient.
I currently don't have internet access right now. I'm actually in the process of getting new internet access at my house. I'm using this as a recording device. Bottom line is, I don't want to do it that way. The law states she has to take my request. They don't have to give me the information, but they have to put it to the right channels, the right department.
Is there something you can write up? Yeah, is there a little
Just a blank piece of paper. It's so simple. That's all we were asking for.
And that blank piece of paper will include not your information, but just the information
That I'm requesting, and then we're going to come back at a later date and see if that information is available. And if it is, great. If it's not, then we'll take it up with the proper, their supervisors or, whoever we need to take it up with, the city manager, the mayor, whoever it needs to be done.
What was that form you were talking about? Is that
We
something?
don't have a form. He asked for a public.
You said it was online, ma'am.
Request form, and I made a phone call because I don't process those. So I made a phone call to the superintendent's office to find out if that
Ma'am,
there is a form.
You could go on that website and print it up for us.
This is an email. So the normal process that we use is for people to submit them through an email. But I've asked one of my staff members to go back and check to see if.
How can someone,
Excuse me.
how can a citizen create anonymously a request if you have to email?
So your coworkers.
I'm checking to see if there's something else.
Yeah, we're code 4 though. We don't need 3 guys with guns here for 2 guys with cameras. I know you're gonna stay here as long as you want because you don't work for the people. We get it. We get it.
I also work for them. So do you mind identifying yourself? Sure. What? The name of the record.
Is that RIT? There you go.
Huh? I do not have to provide you with that.
CAT number? Yeah, you do actually. It's part of your policy.
What policy is it?
Your identification policy.
This is the field training officer.
Your identification policy and your 750-page manual that regarding identifying cordially, respectfully to any member of the public upon
Field
request.
training officer.
Did you just graduate or what's going on here?
I am required by I get your name, policy, and law to only require you with and require to having perfectly visible name or identification.
You gotta verbally say too. It's also professional, even if there wasn't a policy. No, just saying right here. If you're in a court and the judge asks you your name, are you gonna say, "Oh, I'm right here"? Would you say that?
Is that the way you train officers out in the field?
I hope you're not a training officer. Just put it this way. Let's do it easy. Do you have a business card? Do you have a business card? Can I get one, please? Do you have a business card by any chance? Yeah. Thank you, sir. You're shaking, man. You need to get a candy up there, bro.
Are you the one that called earlier about the other letter we got?
Yeah. Okay.
I appreciate it, man. You guys have a great attitude. I appreciate you. Well, tell you what, let me just get a picture of it. You can save it in case someone else doesn't have a camera.
I have worse.
You sure? All right. It'll be 2 minutes to write down.
He wants us to write it.
That's the law, ma'am.
The American Disabilities Act requires you to write it if it's.
I have.
That's fine, and I'm checking to see if.
Ma'am, I have terrible handwriting. Ma'am, I have terrible handwriting. That's why I'm asking you to do it. I'm not trying to do it to be mean to you or anything.
Ms. Jones, they need you, and I'll take the request stuff.
Perfect. We're gonna finally get some service guys.
You guys want, and I need to do the PRA, right? Okay, so that was Cindy Fisher. Okay, where do you want it?
So this is her card, or I was just here? Or who's
Cindy Fisher? Yeah. So
that's this lady right here. Just to clarify, I was just sitting down here.
No, this was Miss Jones. That was out. Oh, that was Miss Jones. Yeah. No, this was Miss Jones. That was out. Oh, that was Miss Jones.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting here.
Miss Fisher's the one that handles our PRAs.
Gotcha.
So I need to know the name, organization, address, email, so I can do that. And
no, we're gonna. It's anonymous. You can just put down guy with a camera.
Okay. And what's the organization?
Just a independent journalist.
Okay. What's the address? Just a second.
No address.
So
we roam the earth, just peacefully working on stories. There you go.
All right. Do you have an email?
No, sir.
Okay. No email. So what? how do you want us to get you the public record?
So I'm going to put the request in, and then I'm going to come back in about 2 weeks to give you a chance to see if you're able to do it. Then if you need more time to do it, then you guys can say, hey, I need more time. Or
what are the specific disruptions of requests?
So the request that I would like is the lady that you just relieved, that you were taking over for. I'd like her name, date of hire, her official position, and her 2022 salary, including all regular pay.
Go again, name, date of hire,
position, her 2022 complete salary, and then also during her course of employment here at this district office, has she had any prior disciplinary actions? If so, what were they?
We make small talk now.
Sure, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a free cut, freedom of speech, brother.
I just like to check in and get to know people and what they're doing. So
I wish that.
I want to talk to lawyers. You guys Niner fans and agents?
Absolutely. But real quick, see, if everyone here had this attitude that you're having right now, this whole thing would have been prevented. I probably wouldn't have even requested that information. It could have been prevented just by simple de-escalation courses, maybe, with the staff. And so I'm serious, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic, and just letting you know, like, hey, when someone comes in, hey, can I get your name and position? It's usually typical, especially as a point of contact at the front desk. I can understand that she's like back in the mailroom all day. She might not be used to people walking around, but when she's the point of contact, so the first person someone's going to see when they walk through that door, she should have a big smile on her face. Hey, how's it going? What can I do for you guys? Probably would have been out of here in 5 minutes.
Thank you. And I would like to add that I like that one position. So check that and make sure that's what you want, and I can do that.
So about 3 weeks we'll come back, we'll pick it up, and then perfect.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right, you guys enjoy the day, get some good lunch.